they never learned in the licensing course really what to do and how to do it. And many people don't. Just because you go get your license or you decide, oh, I'm going to be a massage therapist or butcher or whatever, doesn't mean that you know how to run the business. So I started taking those people by the hand and saying, oh, no, oh, you're missing this. Look, this is so simple. You can just put this in and now you can grow your business.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in today's episode I'm going to be interviewing Sue Stiles, who I have been fortunate to be on her podcast in the past, but she's also a dear client of mine, and I love that she helps business owners to really grow their business. And one of the topics that I want to talk to her today is about how to attract clients and earn more referrals from your clients. So Sue, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Lynn.
No worries, Sue. So tell the audience a little bit about what you do and how you got started in your business.
When you ask me that, for the first time, my mind goes to not the typical answer, but most business coaches, I think, concentrate on a mindset, overcoming limiting beliefs, expanding one person's abilities and how they see themselves. But in my experience, I work with clients who already come with most of that. I mean, we can always grow, but they already know what they want to do. They're running a business, the business is them, more solo entrepreneurs. And what they really struggle with, and what I struggle with, and all business owners, are those little things, those practical and tactical things. What about the systems? What about your checklist? How about getting clients? Not just a mindset that, oh, I deserve to have clients, or I should charge a certain amount, but the nitty gritty, how do you get them? And so that's what I help coach clients with day in and day out. I'm knee deep in it. And so that's sort of my specialty.
Yeah. So you're based in Canada, aren't you?
I am in Calgary, Alberta. And we're here in Canada. And what used to be a local business, because of the pandemic, really has grown because we're all doing so many things virtually. But, when I started, I was very local because I was working in a great real estate office, and we would have new agents doing deals with us sometimes. And we always had to train them. We always had to teach them. And that's because they never learned in the licensing course really what to do and how to do it. And many people don't. Just because you go get your license or you decide, oh, I'm going to be a massage therapist or butcher or whatever, doesn't mean that you know how to run the business. So I started taking those people by the hand and saying, oh, no, oh, you're missing this. Look, this is so simple. You can just put this in and now you can grow your business. So, I mean, it started out very local from those people, who needed my help that I saw in the office. And now I speak more, and I have my own podcast. As you said, you were on it. So it's easy to get together on Zoom now, and it's second nature for everybody. So it's just opened up the whole world.
Yeah, I love that you can now, help people from anywhere. So in terms of getting clients, I mean, it's one of the biggest challenges for anyone starting out. And, I think we underestimate how difficult it actually is when you're launching a new brand. No one knows you. So yeah, I guess if you could highlight some of the challenges and some of your recommendation on what people could do to improve their chance of attracting clients.
Yeah, I want to try and give you the best stuff. So please rein me in and get me back on track. But the first thing that comes to mind is, listen, if it was an easy answer, we would never have to be talking about this. If I could just tell you, oh, go phone 5 people a day, and that worked, we wouldn't have the challenge. The challenge is that getting clients is not just about making those calls. It's about everything. In fact, if it was just about getting clients, do you have Groupon in Australia? Yeah, okay. So I think Michelle Romanow was part of inventing Groupon. Online coupons, there is the best lead generator a business could have. You offer a coupon online, somebody buys it, and now they can try your service. And if they like it, then you have a repeat customer, you have their email and everything. But what happened in the beginning was that the businesses that were not prepared for that, who didn't understand how to set up their business, they went under, they went bankrupt. They had terrible reviews. They lost their business because they weren't really set up really for more clients. So before you even think about how do I we think, oh, I just need more clients. I would challenge you and perhaps say, no, you don't. You need to treat your business like a real business. And it's not just about getting the clients, it's all the work. I often talk about all the work underground, the stuff that's not seen. How's your product? How is your service? Do you have a real detailed client journey? Are you using a database or a CRM? Do you know where to keep your files? Do you have notes on people? Like all of this underground, it's not the pretty stuff, but it's a stuff that needs to be done so that you can funnel through more and more clients. In Calgary, if you ever come visit, we have world famous Stampede, but downtown we have what's called the Calgary Tower. And when it was built in 1967, it was the tallest building in Calgary. And they did a really special build. They did a continual concrete pour, and there's over 10,000 tons of concrete in this building so that it could rise above the skyline. But what I find interesting is over 60% of the concrete, it's under the ground. It's underground. And if you want the tallest building, you have to have the biggest foundation. And that foundation, like I said, it's not the bling, it's not the pretty stuff. It's the work that goes on behind the scenes. And part of that is how you get clients. So
yeah, I really love
yeah.
that because when I was starting out too, yes, I want clients, but I also really care about a really great product, a really great service for clients. So I rather, I guess, compromise on the growth and kind of grow steadily than to get a bunch of clients and do a poor job and then never be able to kind of redeem yourself and lose your reputation along the way.
Yeah, I think that's a really wise thing to continually think about. But we are, just human nature, we're lazy. And, if you were a business that was busy over the pandemic, you might just, feel, not consciously maybe, but feel like, oh, I've got enough clients for now. Oh, I didn't really have to do anything. I know a lot of realtors in that industry, just, it was crazy all over the world. And they didn't really have to do anything to get clients. And now the challenge will be if they keep doing, just good enough, they're not going to keep those clients. If they don't stay in touch for all of those years, they're not going to stay top of mind. And then their business, will drop off.
So what are the tips around, I guess, maintaining that brand that customers are loyal to, and they're not jumping around to different new competitors? What are some of the tips that you would say to really just create that loyalty, that instill where they're like, they don't care about something being cheaper?
Yeah, I know. We never want to compete on price. That's not where you want to compete. And I guess with my expertise where it's solo business owners, where the business is it's you usually offering that service. It's you and maybe a small team. You might be virtual, or it might just, be you going to clients' offices. So the first thing I always tell my clients is there is no marketing without brand. In fact, once I wrote an article, your marketing sucks, your brand is generic, and your advertising lacks results. It
I
hit
love
home to
that.
me. It hit home to me. So you have to spend time if you want to excel in your industry. I believe you really need to take the time and discover, well, what is your brand? And, in a nutshell, I could teach a whole day on sort of branding and what I love about it. But if you think of Lady Gaga, we all know her story. She was Stephanie when she came out of high school. Maybe she felt like she wasn't that well liked, but she knew she had this gift inside of her, something that she could do. And so she actually created this persona of Lady Gaga. This was the rock star when she was, 100% in the flow doing her gift. So, wherever you are now, if you can imagine what are you when you're 10 out of a 10, when you're a rock star business owner, what does that image look like? And how are you serving the clients? And there's lots of online tests you can take, Myers-Briggs, DISC, archetype kind of things. Get to know that brand and that image that you want to portray that meets those clients' needs. And eventually, what happened to Cary Grant, I don't know if you know him, I'm a little bit older than you, Lynn, but In the old days when black and white movies were on, there's a very suave actor, Cary Grant, and one time he was interviewed and he said, I wasn't always Cary Grant. I imagined who I wanted to be, and I walked it out until I became him or he became me. And
Mm,
that is key for people. We're always reaching, and we risk feeling that imposter syndrome, but you've got to reach, you've got to be that brand, be the best of what you can imagine, and treat people like that. Treat people like you are the best, and that will help build your brand, and people will talk about you. And there's lots of little things that you can do along the way. The colors you choose, maybe a little prop or bling that you give away, maybe a holiday that you associate with. There's lots of little tools and techniques that you can use depending on what you want your brand to be, so people will feel connected to you. They don't have to be your best friend, but they do need to feel like they want to work with you again and again. Like, I want to work with you. I love how I'm treated when even I get an email from your team, and that's that little shot of dopamine, and you make me feel important. So how can we do that
mm.
for our clients?
Yeah, I love that you're saying branding is not just the external, the way it looks, the way you feel, but it's also how you're internally treating your staff or treating your clients. So really instilling in that. And so, yeah, I feel like at the beginning when I didn't know much about business, I think like most people, you hustle, you go out there, network, meet people, and you're not really spending much time on building your brand, who you are. And it was only when I discovered the importance of building content and that strong brand, because I had that aha moment and said, why is it that we buy everything from Oprah? Whatever she tells us to buy is because she's now that brand that we think whatever she says, it's gospel. And so that was my turning point. And now I am, encouraging more people to focus on that. But I think people still can't help to focus on, I guess, the quick return, because branding takes time. It takes work. It's long term. It's not something you do and then you're just going to be doing it forever. And so I guess
Yeah,
what would you say to that, where people are going, are just short term thinking and going, well, it hasn't worked. I made some videos. It hasn't worked.
I know. I always feel like it doesn't work. And then I get a call. So last week I got a new client. She's from another province. I said, how did we meet? She said, I saw you speak about 6 years ago
Oh my
at
God.
an event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And luckily, at all of my events, I usually do a door prize or some way where I can get people's emails. So then I had her on my e-newsletter, and I don't do it, too often. Like, I always write my own e-newsletters. I always try to make sure there's something of value. So 6 years, but she didn't need my help then.
Mm-hmm.
She needs my help now. And so that's that. You could be the best networker. You could go to all kinds of things and have lots of people know you, but they don't always need your service right
Mm-hmm.
now. So that's why it's sort of that long game. And you should think of it like a long-term game, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. This is a long game, and it should return. The more that you stay in the business, the more you'll be known. But I will say, when you were talking about Oprah and content, and I remember watching Susie Orman, who's a famous wealth coach, and there's something about sharing our stories. And even more so now, I just took a marketing director's course last year to learn more about marketing, which I love. It's not really a service I offer, but in our coaching, the marketing always comes up. And sure, you can go online and find out how to market a company. Oh, I've got a $70,000 budget to do a new startup, and we're going to do split testing. We're going to have a graphic team. But most entrepreneurs do not start out that way. You're doing everything. But what you can do is share a story or start gathering some stories. When I started speaking, and I would tell audiences, realtors or mortgage brokers, okay, this is what you have to do. You need a system. This is a good system that works well in this industry. And here's some checklists, and here's what you should do here. And I was just telling them all what to do. And one day, somebody asked me out of the audience, sort of, where did I come from? And I was caught off guard a little bit. So I had to answer really authentically, because I didn't have time to fabricate an answer for the show kind of thing. And so I just said, I'll tell you, when I got divorced, I had 4 kids and I was the single mom and I had to take care of them. And I had my head down and I was working hard. And then I lost my job. And then we went into bankruptcy. And, and I just told them, from bankruptcy, from having nothing, feeling like I had nothing to lose, what did I really want to do? And so I wanted to solve this injustice. Why don't entrepreneurs have the tools that they need, to run a business? And my passion, I guess, just came out. And there were tears in people's eyes. And I felt the shift in the room between when I was just telling them what to do. Oh, you should be phoning your clients every year at least, to here's my story. This is why I'm passionate about it and why I want to help you. And so it's very true that, especially now, because people's bull crap radar is high. We know we get fake news all the time. So if you can tell people your true story, tell people your truth, and even sharing, I think, client stories, having clients just share maybe how their business changed because of you, all sharing the stories and just talking like we're having coffee really helps to build brand. And even stories not about business. Like, I know sometimes, Lynn, you'll share a little bit about your background and where you came from, or stories about your family. I know you had a karaoke thing that you shared not too long ago. Yes, these kinds of honest, authentic stories are great to help build brand.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think as entrepreneurs, we have to it's no longer like, okay, I'm wearing a business hat and then I'm wearing a Lynn hat. It's really about how do you feel confident enough to be vulnerable and be you the whole time. And I think that helps, and people will fight for your mission or your cause because they felt for you when you went through dark times and now they're cheering for you. And I think that's what probably helped me to succeed, because I was so vulnerable at the beginning. I've always been easy at being vulnerable, but I do come across owners who feel like, I don't want people to know about my private life. I don't want people to know about these things. It's nothing to do with business. So how can people overcome that? Because it kind of serves you in every way. Like, if anyone you come across, whether friends or family, would be closer to you when you are vulnerable. Clients will come to you because you're more vulnerable. How do you overcome that mindset?
Yeah. Well, I totally respect that some people are private people too. If you're more introverted, no, you don't want to share. I hear this all the time. People don't want to share on social media different things. But I say, look, you have to expose yourself online. You have to expose yourself, but appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
So you can put boundaries in place. Like, this is your own business. It's your own marketing. You get to make the rules. So now, personally, like, I'm naturally very extroverted. I don't hide very much, and that's comfortable for me. But if someone's not comfortable with it, they could, I have a whole list of branding questions when we're doing stories that will prompt. So say I'll prompt you to come up with maybe 5 or 10 stories. Was there anything your grandparents taught you when you were a child that you remember? Were there any mistakes you made? So if I'm working with a realtor, things about buying houses or selling houses is always good. But anything about your business when it didn't go well, what's the worst mistake you ever made? So I'll prompt and we'll come up with some stories, and then you get to choose what stories that you share. And
Mm.
so you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I just, my husband just lost his job and I guess I should tell everybody because I'm being honest. No, you don't have to. You don't have to share every little thing. It has to work within your comfort zone, but curate some stories that you're comfortable sharing and curate parts of your authenticity so that you give people a chance to get to know you. And remember that rock star. So, it can match with the person who's 10 out of 10 when you're on and your business is big. What are those stories that you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah, you're right. There's so many layers in what stories we share. And I think it's a kind of building your muscle around that. And I think when I first started out, I didn't dare to kind of tell everything, but I started to tell some things, and then now you kind of get used to it, and you're like, I don't care anymore. I just tell more. And so I think you're right. You don't need to jump straight in and be super open that it almost, it feels humiliating or weird, but it's about just practicing, sharing what you can, that, it's not, so rather than just always talking about your products and services and how much it is and the features it does, but now going back to some of the way, share the way you think so that someone could kind of relate to the way you think or the experience that you've gone through so that they can connect with you. Is that right?
Yes, totally. And as you were saying that, maybe you're a business owner that actually has a product and maybe you don't want to brand it exactly on your personality. And maybe the business isn't you, you're building up a product. Like I'm just helping. So the real estate licensing program used to be, I'm sorry, terrible. They don't want to hear that, but it didn't set people up. And now the market is open. So other companies can come and offer a marketing course. So I'm helping this company called Rello, Real Estate Licensing Online. And so they're starting to offer this course. Now, the owner of that, he owns a ton of online training. He's an entrepreneur, but the brand of that company, of the startup Rello, it does have its own brand, and the brand is that it wants to serve the realtors, it wants to serve the learners, and it has a certain look and it has a tone, but it actually isn't all the owner's look and tone. It has its own personality. So, you can decide what feels comfortable for you, but the key is you've got to decide, and building your brand and coming up with your stories. It might sound like you and I are talking about it and we've done it and, oh yeah, just do this. But I know when I'm sitting down with clients, it's probably honestly one of the hardest things to do on your own because, you're in the forest. You can't see the forest for the trees. You're in the trees. So it is helpful if you can bounce off ideas and talk to somebody, whether you're hiring someone or if it's a family member, a friend, or business partner, so that you can get the feedback and have someone help you feedback how great you are and what you do well. That can be very helpful, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, exactly. And talking to someone like you would be so helpful because you're not just a business coach, but you're doing just that, building your brand and creating content all the time. How do people work with you? Like, what are some of the options that they can have?
You know what? I don't have a program of things we do all the time. I'm really one-on-one. Like I get into your business, I get to know what do you need, and then I really hold your hand and walk you all the way through. I think I'm more like, hire me. I'm going to come and be your business manager, and then
Mhm.
I'm going to partner with you on these things. Did you do your business plan? Let me help you create one that works for you, because I know the templates are usually just cumbersome. They're overdone, but you need a plan. Let me help you outline your client journey. Let me help you set it up so that you can scale and maybe start hiring out. So that whole business model of growth, where it's the tactical stuff, let me help you. And as I said, I'm not the one really doing just the mindset. I'm not the coach who's asking the questions to get you to think. I'm more the coach where you're asking me the questions because you don't know. And I'm telling you, as I
Yeah.
sometimes say, I'm not bossy. I just know what you should be doing. So
Yeah, I love that.
it's that kind of coaching. And it's quick, and when we're done, you should be set up and I will cheerlead you on and I will support you from behind. But we don't usually go for years. It's usually 4 to 6 months, maybe 12 months. And we've got, your business is set up and you can grow and you can come back and visit. I do have those regular clients. For me, you know what? My business model isn't that great of a business model. And I always tell realtors too, yeah, so let's just, because I talk with them a lot, but how often do you buy a house? Maybe every 5 years, maybe every 10, maybe once in a lifetime. Like it's really the worst profession to get in. It's a saturated market and you're always looking for clients.
Yeah.
So if you really want to have a hopping business, you need to sell like milk or eggs or diapers or tampons or something. You need to sell something people need. But the challenge is I meet people who have this passion for this thing. It's not necessarily that they're serving a gap in the market, but you have a passion and maybe a gift and some expertise to help these clients. And so your challenge is, How do you rise to the top in maybe your saturated market? And how do you connect with people continually and take care of them well when they're working with you? And how do you stay in touch forever? So they don't forget about you, because referrals is where you want to go for sure, is getting those referrals and recommendations.
Yeah, I love what you've just said here is that really it is a custom solution, because depending on your business and where your problems are, ultimately we're all trying to get more clients. But sometimes it's not about going out there and trying to get the next client, but fixing certain things so that the existing client stays or they'll tell more people. And so working with yourself means that you're going to be fixing the right areas that's going to yield the best result, rather than just listening to something and start going out there like, oh, you watch something and they said, oh, go on TikTok and start get a client from there, and then you're busy going on there doing it, and yet you've still got a non-validated service, or there's a leaky bucket somewhere, right?
Right. You're nail on the head, Lynn. Such a good reminder, because if you have a handful of clients, number one, that's the best place to start, and keep going, until you have time to look for new leads. So if your past clients keeps you good. I sometimes tell a story about golfing. I spoke at a golf venue once, and I am not really a golfer. So I asked if I could have a phone call with the golf pro, a golf coach. And when he was talking to me, so what I wanted to know was, what's most important in hitting the ball, which is just like what you're asking and people ask, how do I get clients? And what the golf pro said, Sue, I can tell you're an amateur, because all you want to do is hit the ball. But when you are a pro, what you're concentrating on is not hitting the ball. You're concentrating on swinging through. That starts when the club is way behind your head. It starts in the air, in the position. And when you connect with the ball, you're not hitting it. You are swinging through. You're actually gaining momentum. You're supposed to gain momentum, and you're supposed to swing the club right around. And I just thought that was such a perfect story, because when you're a professional business owner, you're thinking about your clients before you're even meeting them. When you connect with somebody, it shouldn't be just like ringing a bell, boom, got another client, doing another transaction. No, now it's like, how can I serve you more? How can I exceed your expectations? And you're not forgetting about them. You're swinging all the way through. You're taking care of them after the transaction. You're asking for Google reviews. You're telling them, I'm here for your friends and family if they need anything. You're letting them know, I also have another service that I could help you with, so it's a swinging through. You're not just trying to hit the ball. You're not just trying to get clients. You're trying to build a business.
Oh, I love that. And that really takes us to the end of this video, because that's such a great story and a great wrap up. So thank you so much, Sue, for being on my show today. I will put your details, your websites on the description. So thank you for your time.
My pleasure. So good talking to you.